Two of the biggest railroad unions are split in accepting a new contract with the major freight railroads.
Yeah, this morning, railroad engineers accepted the deal that will give 24% raises, but conductors narrowly rejected the contract. News 8's Jenna Webster explains what has to happen before workers can strike and who can step in to block a strike. It's first tonight at 5.
That 24% wage increase is over the 5-year life of the contract and is retroactive to 2020, so workers would receive back pay from the last few years. It's because workers have been without a pay raise and without a new contract since 2019. And the reason for that comes down to the mediation process in the Railway Labor Act. SMART-TD is now the fourth union to reject the deal brokered by the White House with the Class 1 rail carriers. The conductors narrowly rejecting the contract, just 50.8% voting no.
There's been a history, really, of kind of downsizing of the number of workers working in the industry. So it's put more and more pressure on the workers that are remaining.
Labor expert Todd Vachon wasn't surprised the union rejected the contract, even with its pay raises and annual bonuses.
A lot of the outstanding demands are still on the table, especially around the worker-life balance issues, the scheduling, and having predictability of time off.
Contract negotiations have been ongoing for nearly 3 years now. That's because under the Railway Labor Act, contracts don't generally expire. They just become amendable.
Congress enacted a law that recognized the right of workers in the railroad industry to form a union and negotiate, but really limited their right to strike. And it set forth a very complicated mediation process to slow these disputes down.
Michael Leroy is also an expert in labor law and employment relations.
They've rejected the proposed contract by narrow margins, by 3 or 4 or 5 percentage points, which signifies to me that they can get a deal done.
The rail carriers and SMART-TD now have 2.5 weeks to return to the bargaining table. But if they're unable to reach an agreement by December 8th, the union could strike the next day. And if one union strikes, all the others join the picket lines too.
Congress has the power to impose a settlement.
It's power given to Congress under the Railway Labor Act. In September, Republican senators drafted up legislation that would impose the contract terms reached by Biden's Presidential Emergency Board. But that deal removes some of the sweeteners the unions won at the last minute. Lawmakers can also extend the negotiation period or send the parties to arbitration. But Leroy doesn't expect any movement to happen on a new deal until closer to the December deadline.
If they really want to be bold, they could draft legislation that's at the midpoint between where the employers are and the union and shoot past that point. And that would really put pressure on both parties at the same time to get a deal done.
It's a strike he says Congress wants to avoid because of the economic impact. But what happens next is entirely unknown. Jenna Webster, WQAD, News 8.
The last major freight rail strike was in April 1991. It lasted less than 24 hours before Congress passed legislation forcing workers back on the job while mediators worked to reach an agreement. And even a short strike could lead to diversions and cascade into delays and congestion, pushing back recovery in some supply chains. Around 30% of U.S. freight is moved by rail, and the Association of American Railroads estimates a strike would cost the economy $2 billion a day. The Soy Transportation Coalition says a strike couldn't come at a worse time for farmers because of the low levels on the Mississippi River impacting barge traffic.
A lot of farmers and agricultural shippers are looking for lifelines right now because the river is not operating as it normally does. And rail is the preferred lifeline. It's the preferred option B because rail is very well designed to transport heavy commodities long distances as well. And so now all of a sudden, we have this big question mark.
The Soy Transportation Coalition is one of many businesses asking Congress to avoid a strike.